tonight's news edition. Jordan condemns the terrorist attack in the French city of Nice and expresses the country's solidarity with the French people and government. The U.S. Secretary of State discusses with the Russian president the need to speed up international efforts to tackle terrorism in Syria. And authorities in Florida and Pennsylvania warn Pokemon Go enthusiasts to play by the rules of the real world. Good evening and welcome to the news at 10. His Majesty the King sent a cable of condolences to French President François Hollande over the victims of the terrorist attack in Nice. The King expressed his strong condemnation of such ugly terrorist acts and expressed Jordan's solidarity with the French people and government in these hard conditions. King Abdullah expressed his heartfelt condolences to the French president over the victims of the terrorist attack and wished the injured a speedy recovery. Jordan strongly condemned the terrorist crime in the French city of Nice. Minister of State for Media Affairs and Communications and Government spokesman Mohammed El-Momani said Jordan denounces in the strongest possible terms this brutal attack, which claimed the lives of 84 persons and wounded dozens. This attack, the minister said, once again reiterates the barbaric and inhuman methods of terrorists who target innocent people all over the world. Momani said Jordan stands by France in these hard conditions while reiterating calls to eradicate terrorism and extremism. The minister offered the Jordanian government and people's condolences to the French government and people while wishing the injured a speedy recovery. The Ministry of Foreign and Expatriate Affairs affirmed that no Jordanians were among the victims of the terrorist attack in Nice. The ministry spokesman Sabah Al-Rafi'i said that initial information for the Jordanian embassy in Paris affirms that no Jordanians were reported to be among the victims of the terrorist attack, which left 84 dead and dozens wounded. French President François Hollande said about 50 people were still fighting for their lives following the Nice attack. He added there were a lot of foreigners and children among the dead. An attacker had plowed a truck into crowds celebrating Bastille Day on the French Riviera. The world strongly condemned what Hollande called a terrorist act by an enemy determined to strike all nations that share France's values. This report has the details.
World leaders are reacting to the deadly attack in Nice, France during the Bastille Day celebration on Thursday night, in which at least 80 people were killed. French President François Hollande said he was extending the country's state of emergency by 3 months. In Mongolia, where European and Asian leaders are attending a summit, German Chancellor Angela Merkel said Germany stands with France.
Und Deutschland steht im Kampf gegen den Terrorismus.
There must be solidarity, she said, of all the countries who are involved in the fight against terrorism. The attack happened when a truck plowed into crowds that had gathered along the resort town's famous promenade to watch fireworks. At least 80 people are confirmed dead, including children, but officials said that number could go up. Television news programs from China to Australia have been reporting on the incident. Australian Foreign Minister Julie Bishop expressed sympathy for the victims and a reminder to keep vigilant.
This latest attack reminds us that no city, no country is immune from terrorist attacks. That's why the Australian government will do all in our power to keep Australians as safe as possible, both at home and abroad.
Prime Minister Hani al-Mulki said meeting social and economic needs of citizens is the new government's top priority, as mentioned in the Royal Letter of Designation. In an interview with Jordan Television's 60 Minutes program, al-Mulki said the government is carrying out a comprehensive action plan to ensure the safety and stability of the Jordanian people. The Prime Minister also talked about partnership between public and private sectors, the Jordanian Investment Fund, as well as the upcoming parliamentary elections and the role of the Independent Elections Commission. U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry told his Russian counterpart in Moscow that the attack in the French city of Nice showed the need to speed up international efforts to tackle terrorism, especially in Syria. Kerry met with Russian President Vladimir Putin about boosting military and intelligence cooperation against Daesh and Al-Qaeda in Syria. Kerry said without concrete near-term steps, diplomatic efforts to end the war could not go on indefinitely. Referring to what he described as the incredible carnage in Nice, Kerry said nowhere was there a greater hotbed for terrorists than in Syria.
People all over the world are looking to us and waiting for us to find a faster and more tangible way of them feeling that everything that is possible is being done to end this terrorist scourge and to unite the world in the most comprehensive efforts possible to fight back against their nihilistic and depraved approach to life and death.
Thousands of supporters of powerful Shiite Muslim cleric Muqtada Sadr filled a central Baghdad square, disregarding government pleas to scrap protest it said would distract from the war against Daesh. The demonstration ended a respite from a street action which in April and May saw protesters storm Baghdad's heavily fortified Green Zone government district twice, hampering parliament for weeks and causing several deaths. Sadr's followers have returned with familiar demands to fight corruption and overall a governing system based on ethnic, sectarian and party quotas. Activity in much of Baghdad crawled to a halt overnight as security forces deployed ahead of the demonstrations following a military parade in central Baghdad, marking a national holiday. Sadr supporters pledged to carry on with the protest but promised it would be peaceful. There were no reports of serious violence several hours into the demonstration, after which people began to withdraw. How much is too much when it comes to the latest Pokemon craze? Authorities at the Florida Zoo and a Pennsylvania cemetery have warned Pokemon Go enthusiasts to play by the rules of the real world. Still, players followed their phones along dangerous paths at the Naples Zoo, walking by animals to catch a Pokemon. Zoo officials said breaking their rules will come with consequences, leading zoo officials to contact game developers to request that Pokemon stops be kept within the zoo's public areas. In Pennsylvania, police said about 40 Pokemon Go players led inside a cemetery by the popular video game were locked behind its gates after the cemetery closed.
Look at it.
Brazilian street artist Eduardo Cobra is leading a team around the clock to create one of the world's largest murals in time for the Olympic Games in Rio. The 3,000-meter squared mural entitled Ethnicities will feature the faces of 5 indigenous people from different continents, marking a visual reference to the 5 Olympic rings. The Olympic rings were the starting point for Cobra's mural, representing the 5 competing continents: the Americas, North and South, Europe, Asia, Africa, and Australasia. The work will be revealed a week before the opening ceremony on August 5th. Three 6-year-old mini versions of Team Sky cyclist Chris Froome, Geraint Thomas, and Ian Stannard took on an aerodynamic challenge to simulate the tough conditions that their adult counterparts might face in the upcoming Tour de France. The 3 mini cyclists were confronted with 50 miles per hour winds as they attempted to cycle a short distance in a controlled studio in London. Team Sky is one of the most successful cycling teams in the world, winning the Tour de France 3 times with 2 British riders. This year they are going for their 4th Tour de France win, led by Chris Froome. The The Tour de France starts on July 2nd and ends on July 24th.
France conditions. Mini Sir Dave has enlisted the help of his biggest fan.
Get ready, let's do a test.
The team assume their usual position with Mini Stannard up front.
I'll take the lead. I want to take the lead. It's hard work against the headwind. We've got to hand it to Stannard.
With gusts of 50 miles per hour, the team have got their work cut out.
No speed, just slogging.
But they all make it to the finish line. Everyone is blown away by their performance.
And finally, it continues to be fair in the hilly areas tonight and moderate across the kingdom with northwesterly winds. Tomorrow, hot conditions prevail in most regions, especially the Jordan Valley and Dead Sea areas. The Gulf of Aqaba should expect a very hot day tomorrow with northerly moderate to brisk winds and choppy seas. Next are the lows and highs for tonight and tomorrow. To end the news, here's a reminder of our top stories. Jordan condemns the terrorist attack in the French city of Nice and expresses the country's solidarity with the French people and government. The U.S. Secretary of State discusses with the Russian president the need to speed up international efforts to tackle terrorism in Syria. And authorities in Florida and Pennsylvania warn Pokemon Go enthusiasts to play by the rules of the real world. With that, we come to the end of tonight's news. I'm Nancy Khair. Thank you for watching and have a good night.